Hello, good morning. This is the 3rd of February 2021, and what I am trying to do is to dry some rose petals in the microwave. At the moment they are not dry, so what I would recommend doing is obviously only putting the microwave on for 30-second bursts. I believe I can do this just by pressing this button and then it will count down. Now, here are some petals I did yesterday, and they were lilies. Personally, I would not recommend doing lilies in the microwave. Just like with anything, once it dries out, it can become quite brittle. I'm also personally not very happy with these lilies because a lot of them have ended up getting stained by the stamen of the flower, which is why lilies are not one of my favourite flowers to use. I'll just turn it off for a second. The other thing is, what I've found is when you are drying flowers in the microwave is that they don't always all dry at the same time. And one of the things I found that's still complete is quite damp is the greenery, like the veins in the lily petals themselves. So I wouldn't recommend trying to dry lilies in the microwave unless you were prepared to take them apart in order to prevent any moisture being left over. So these have been on for about a minute now, I believe. So let's just have a look and see how they are. Nope, they're still quite damp, so we'll put them on again. One of the other things that I have done is when I do have lilies come in a bouquet, because they are a pet hate of mine, is I always remove the stamens. And the reason for this is because the stamens stain. They are awful. I believe it's called the stamen. I've always called it the stamen. I may be wrong. Although lilies are very beautiful, they're very much associated with death. They are like a death flower as well, which is why not everybody likes them in the home. I'm just going to change hands for a second and turn off the microwave before it starts beeping. But one thing that is good with the stamen is I've put them into a cup here, and what I will do with them is I will use them with a little bit of water and say some glue and make my own sort of pigment for painting and decorating some of my artwork, so the stamens won't go to waste. The other thing you could do with this as well, if you knew what you were doing, is you could possibly use them to fertilise other plants in the garden to make your own different species of lily. But again, that's something I don't really know a lot about. So here we have some, like I said, beautiful lilies. They are a beautiful flower, but again, they're not one of my favourites. And then mind my kitchen. And these are the ones, they're a different colour, that I put in the microwave. And again, I'm not happy with them because they haven't dried out completely. If I had left them in any longer, sadly, they would have started to burn. And also, there is a lot of staining because of the stamen. So they will be composted. I won't be using them for anything. If we now go and have a quick look at the rose petals again in the microwave, we'll just have a feel. They are starting to dry out a lot nicely now. The colour has been retained, which is something you do not always get when you press flowers. So if you are looking at preserving flowers purely for their colour, then I would definitely say this form of method is ideal for drying. The same with a radiator or putting them in the oven or using a humidifier. However, once they are dry, they are fixed into the position they dry in, which then limits what you can actually do with them. So I'll put them on for another, I believe it's 30 seconds, and see whether they are done. one of the problems as well with obviously using anything like a microwave is be warned that the plate will be red hot when you try and take it out. So don't do what I've just done and burn your fingers off. Yeah, they're dry completely. I just move them carefully over. I should have used gloves. I'm not very organised this morning. Just move that over to there. Close the microwave. Turn it off at the mains. So if we remove the tissue paper that I've used and have a look at the petals, they are completely dry now. So we were literally talking, I think it was just maybe 2 minutes, 3 at the most, which again is something I have heard people recommend on YouTube. So if you were looking for a quick way to dry out flowers and they were going to just be the petals, then yes. Just to recap, it would be using the microwave, an oven if you have one, putting flowers on the radiator, or using a humidifier. If you're like me and it takes an age to get anything actually done, again, one of the things that I love doing is just pressed flowers. I love doing them pressed because you never know how they're going to turn out. Also with pressed flowers is you can just literally put them in a press or in a heavy book and forget about them. So sometimes it's just nice when you find them again. Whereas if you are using an electronic device, you are going to have to be vigilant. You are literally going to have to stand there and watch them or be aware of where they are in the house. Otherwise, accidents could happen. With the flowers, obviously looking like this, the petals, again, I would probably recommend using them for something like confetti or potpourri. Or I have also seen online where people have used resin and they've paintbrushed the resin onto each singular petal to make earrings. And I've also, after Googling, seen that flower petals and pressed flowers, they're being used to make things like other types of jewellery and paperweights. But again, if you are going to add anything to your petals, such as resin, or if you're looking at sticking them into an album or make them into bookmarks or laminate them, anything, they must be dry completely before that can happen. There are a lot of information now online about how to preserve flowers, but again, I've done this for myself because you can watch as many YouTube clips as possible online, but I think until you actually try and do something yourself, you're not going to find the best way that suits you or for whatever project that you're looking at working towards. So please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube page and any of my blogs or other social media sites. I will be talking about other ways of preserving flowers over the next month, so look out for my posts. If you have any questions or queries, then please don't hesitate to contact me. And once again, thank you very much for your time for viewing this video.